Hello YouTube, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. This is Michelle with My Mini Ramblings. Today I'm excited to share with you quite a large vintage ephemera haul that I found at a local thrift slash liquidation store. I also have two big books that I found at another thrift store that I want to show you as well. I am so excited. I lived the last 10-ish years, I lived in an area where there were just no choices. We did have like one or two thrift stores, and they had decent stuff sometimes, but for the most part, I could never find things like this. So I'm like totally stoked to be in a new area where I can now find really fun things. So today we're gonna go through all this. Most of the ephemera was $1 or less, not all of it, but most of it. And I'm trying to decide if that was a good deal or not. Like, some of it feels like this, for example. This tag. I could have gotten a whole entire sheet of cardstock for less than $1. I could have probably got two for $1. But anyway, so some of them probably weren't that good of a deal. But then other things, I feel like they were. Like, especially these hankies. All of them were $1 a piece. So I'll just go through it and show you what each thing is. I'm going to pull some of this out of the way to start, and I'm going to show you the books to start with. I got them in a different haul, like I said, but I have to share these two. I got a ton of books, but these two specifically, for me, were an incredible find, and I am so stoked about them. So I want to show them to you. First of all, this one, yes, it was $5. Front page Los Angeles Times. It's like copies of the newspaper back then. Now, this is from 1881 to 1987. This book itself is copyrighted in 1981 and 87. Oh, okay, so it was published in 1987. All right, so as you can tell, this paper has aged beautifully. But look, okay, I'm gonna skip over this first little bit. Look at this. Like, seriously. I mean, first of all, the articles themselves, the front page copies themselves are old. Like some of these first ones, like 1890. Let's see. Let's start with this first one is from 1881 to 1890. And it's just like that itself is amazing. But the fact that the paper that it's been printed on is old as well, like that just, which says I'm old because I was obviously born before 1987. But anyway, I mean, it's just, oh, it was an incredibly good find. I am having a bit of a hard time tearing this up because the book itself is just beautiful. I did, and I already have. And my son, okay, my son, who is barely a teenager, absolutely loves old things like I do. So he was quite upset about the fact that I was tearing this up. He's like, why? Why do you have to do that? Why can't you just leave it? Like, I know, but I'm a junk drawer fanatic, and suddenly I'm tearing books up, which is something I never thought I would do in my life because I'm a book fiend. I have a ridiculous amount of books. However, this one was just begging to be used. So as you can see, there's all sorts of them. It is several of them. It's not daily, but it's some of the more important front page news since the late 1800s. In the Los Angeles Times through 1980 something. Yes, through 1987. And then this was published the end of 1987. But it's just, oh my goodness, I don't know. I just thought this was the most beautiful, amazing find ever. So, there's that. Oh my goodness, this is the Challenger. I don't know if any of you, like who of you would remember the Challenger. I remember it. I would have only been quite small. I would have barely been in school whenever this happened. Oh, that is crazy. Okay, I gotta stop looking at this. I do this every time I open it. Anyhow, that's the first one. This second one, Noah's Ark in German, they had it marked at $9. As gorgeous as this book is, and as much it is completely worth $9 or more, I didn't want to pay that much at the thrift store, so I asked the lady if there was any way that she could give me a little bit off, and she gave it to me for $5. She said they'd had it in there for about 3 months, and nobody showed interest in it other than herself, which then I felt kind of guilty for taking it away from her. But anyhow, this book you will see is beautiful. So it's the work, I'm not even going to attempt to slaughter this name. So I don't know, some of you may know how to pronounce this, air something, but that's about as far as I can get. And I may even be wrong on the first part. This book is about animals, which you probably kind of get from the title. And it's his artwork that he has created. Now the first part is specifically, oh, these are pages I've already torn out and used part of. The very first part is specifically some drawings based around Noah's Ark. But as you go in, okay, look at this book. It is absolutely stunning. I mean, seriously. So see, you can see here they are building the ark. And, but just like the reason I loved this and the reason I wanted to use it, because I don't like to put religious stuff into my junk journals, but the reason I wanted to use this was because of these pictures. I mean, look at this. This is just stunning. And I got this book for $5, guys. Seriously. I've already been using it in journals. I've used it. I've sent a couple, I think, maybe in swaps that I've sent to people. Or if I haven't yet, I plan on it. I don't remember. But anyway, look at the artwork. How could you possibly pass something up like this? Of course, we all have different styles, and I know that. So if you skip past a lot of the Noah's Ark part, and then you come, I mean, that's all beautiful too. And then the back part of it is mostly just focuses on the animals themselves, and it is just absolutely beautiful. I mean, seriously, I could flip through every single page, but I'm not going to. Look at this. It's just, I can't get over it. I showed this to my husband. He's like, wow. He was pretty drawn into it as well. So anyhow, I could sit here and talk about this book all day, and we don't need to do that. We need to get moving. But as you can tell then, like I've cut some of the pages out to use some of the photos and stuff on it. There are a couple places where they had drawings of dead animals in the back, almost like he was using them like to learn to sketch the animal. So those part I typically cover up because I don't want a picture of a dead mouse on my junk journal. But this book, oh, gorgeous. All right. Next, let's start with the fabric things that I got. So this here, and I have never used fabric in a junk journal or even in my paper crafting. And I'm kind of anxious to do it because I watch 49 Butterflies. I will put a link to her channel below. She is amazing. She does beautiful work, and there are many others that do, but hers is one of my favorite. And a lot of times she'll sew little bits of fabric, and it may even just be old pieces like this that she rips up and puts them into her journal, and I'm excited to try that. So I found these. This is a set of 4 linens. It looks like it was probably like napkins for a table. And I don't think this itself is terribly old, but honestly, I don't know how to tell. It just doesn't look all that old. But either way, it looks vintage, and it is just gorgeous. So I'm going to probably find some way to use those. Then we have this piece. Hopefully you can see it. It's just beautiful. So what I'll probably do with this is like fold it in half like this. So, and then stick it into my junk journal that way so that there's one page on each side of the signature. That is stunning. And then I found this one, and there was a ton more I could have gone through, but I just had to make myself stop. But this hanky here, it's got the flowers in all 4 corners. That is just beautiful. And some of these look like they need some washing. They've got some dust spots and things on them, but I love it. Then there was this set of doilies. They're all about the same size, and they need cleaned up too. But I love those. Those would work good. I apologize for the sound in the background, if you can hear it. Maybe you can't hear it. My dog is beside me chewing on a bone, and my son is in his room playing his harmonica. He's alternating between his harmonica and his guitar. I love him to death. He is obsessed with music. So then we have this one. Obviously got some stains on it. I don't know if I'll be able to get the stains out, but if not, I don't care because that just kind of adds to the vintage nature of it. It's this round one. It's really pretty with the edging. She says she gets in. So the lady at this particular store, she goes and buys estates, which is entire houses that are for sale, everything in them. And that's what she does. And she finds these, and I want to know where she finds them because I would love to go to some estate sales myself. This one's just beautiful. I love the flowers around it and then even the edging, the decorative stitch. And then this one I thought was really pretty. Okay, well, I'm gonna be forced to figure out how to edit my videos now because my phone just interrupted the video. I also need to stop recording on my phone and use my actual camera. It is just so much easier to do this and the setup I have than it is to try to figure out a tripod. Whenever I'm aiming down this direction to record it is anyway. If any of you have any suggestions, that would be awesome. I do have a tripod, but I cannot for the life of me how to figure out how to get the good angle without me being in it or where you can see it best. It's just a pain in the butt. So I typically use my phone and do it this way. Anyhow, this one I think is really pretty. And then the last one of these is another pretty little one here. Got a little bit of detailing on the edge. There were some other ones that were with this that were probably a set, but I just liked the detail on this one specifically. Okay. Real quick, I want to address my hands because somebody somewhere will say something and ask if they're sunburnt. No, they're not sunburnt. I just have super, super dry skin, and I have since I was young. I'm a diabetic, which adds to dry skin, and that's probably the main problem. And then in addition to that, I live in a pretty dry climate, so that doesn't help either. And I get super dry skin even in the middle of summer, and I just, no matter how much lotion I put on them, they just stay like that. And so it makes them look like I have sunburnt hands. So obviously I'm self-conscious of it, and I probably don't need to be. Anyhow, back to these goodies. So they have a ton of old music sheets at the store, which I'm sure I will go back and end up getting more at some point when I need them. She always seems to have lots. But this one in particular I really liked. I liked the figure right here on the front and just the way the pages had aged. This is from 1928. I don't know if that's when this was printed or not, but it is pretty old. Just look at that. Yeah. Anyway, there's not a whole lot in there, but I just loved how it looked. So I decided to pick that up. Then there were a couple of books that I picked up while I was there, and you will see why. This one, first of all, is a children's book. Sold for 45 cents originally. The $3 Mule. This is copyrighted in 1960. There was a second printing in 69, so either way, this one is at least almost 50 years old. But it's just your typical vintage children's book, and I love the pages in it. They're smaller. So far, junk journals I've worked on tend to be a little bit smaller. I want to do some bigger ones, but this will work perfect because folded in half, it'll be about the right size. So there's that. Now this, okay, I kind of wish that there wasn't writing in it. This is some sort of cash book, so I assume it's some sort of registry that somebody could have used for keeping track of money, but what they did was used it as sort of a notebook where they took down notes on what it is. I'm not exactly sure. I'm trying to figure this out. But this book is very old. But look at this, okay? So this is almost every page looks like this, and then they have words in it. It says, a must Gillis Grafstrom. First to take weight off. Skate, bend, stretch, bend. Frictionless, effortless, graceful. Frictionless glide, no noise, no snow, smile. So it almost sounds like either some sort of exercise notes or dance notes or something. I cannot tell, but every page is just like this. But I love this paper. And it's actually in pencil, so if I wanted to, I could probably erase it. But see, every bit, every single page, they did the exact same thing. Get educated, hips and brain. And it talks about, I mean, it almost makes me wonder if it's like a notes on, well, I don't know, some of it talks about skating, but some of it makes me wonder if it's notes on belly dancing, just the way that it talks. I don't know, and there's no date in it either that I have found yet, but I just love the paper in it. Even with that on it, I loved it, and it was $1. Actually, no, this one was free. She gave me a couple things for free, so I thought that was totally worth it. All right, now we're gonna set these to the side and start going through them. So this little piece is just a little flap that you put a photo in. So at one time there was probably a photo in there, and I thought it might be a neat little piece to use in my junk journal somehow. This is an old letter. It has an address on the front, so I don't want to show that part, but it's an old letter, I believe, yes, from 1966. There's actually, I think, a couple letters in here, so they must have at some time combined them. 1965. So I thought that was kind of neat. Not quite sure how I'll use it yet, but the fact that it was that old and it was a handwritten letter, I liked it, so I decided to get it. Here we have some old lace. 2 yards worth. It was worth $1.10 originally. I only paid $1. I got a deal. I'm not sure when this is from exactly, but I like that. Okay, now this one. Report of Student Progress. So it's got, you know, just the old handwriting and its grades and that sort of thing, but I just loved it. And this kind of ephemera is stuff that I love to be able to put in, like old records and stuff like that. I also got several, well, a few anyway, old postcards and old photos. So this one in particular was put on a postcard. It does not have a date. It's quite obviously old from the style, somewhere between the 20s and the 40s or 50s probably. Somebody might have a better idea of style than me, but yeah, I thought that was gorgeous. And we have this little, it's just a green envelope, but inside is another school report. Somebody from the 2nd grade. Oh, 1941. This one does have a thing. Dorothy Radcliffe, or Radcliffe, was the teacher. I have seen some of this other ephemera having her name on it, so it must have all come from the same estate hall. Look at this. Look at these old pages. I'm not going to read what it says on them right now, but looks like they had pretty decent grades anyway. A's and B's. Good job, whoever this was. Then we have another postcard here. Hiawatha statue, Minneapolis, Minnesota. No date on this one, but obviously old. Photo of a buffalo. That does not have a date. This is another really old photo. Look at this. And like, I cannot believe how clear this is. For as old as a photo, I mean, it's very, like, it's not, I mean, her face is a little blurry, but it almost looks like someone took a photo here modern and made it look old. That's how good a quality is. And I wish I had a date, but it doesn't. But that's definitely an old photo. Then I also found a few of these, so I'm going to pull them all out together. They're some sort of pattern or transfer, embroidery transfers. Okay. Transfer patterns, yes. So there's 4 of them, and this one was out of its container, but I just like the paper. Like, this is another kind of different paper that I can use in my junk journals, which I'm starting to fall in love with, using different sorts of paper. So that is it. And then even the envelope itself I could use for a page. So that one's kind of like wheat, and this one's got little vegetable people, and this one's mice for using on a tea towel, and then this one's got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and a little kitty cat. So that was a neat find. Then I found several of these little Christmas books, which I figured I would stick into a Christmas-themed journal at some point. And they're just some Christmas stories. Like this is A Christmas Carol. And it just goes through the story and just a little miniature thing, which I thought would be neat to stick in. There's one for Jolly Saint Nick. There's another Christmas Carol one. Here's A Night Before Christmas. And I just love the vintage images inside too. Kris Kringle. I thought those were neat. And I think that's all of those, but we'll see here. Here is another postcard with a photo of Alexander Graham Bell on the front. I just thought that was pretty neat. Everything is neat today, apparently. I have a few more old photos. I don't always like, unless they're really vintage, which there is another one in here. Okay, I'm just going to pull it out right now. Like this. Look at this. That is stunning. I have no idea how I'm going to use this, but I am going to use it. And it is just, I love it. Nettie, daughter of Thomas Clotworthy, it looks like it says. And W.S. Willis, don't know if that was probably like the person that took the photograph in Heber, Utah. So this was gorgeous. I mean, look how old this is. Less than $1, folks. Tell me what you think, if that's a good deal. Like some of this, like $1 for a photo, that just seems expensive. But anyway. So what I started to say was, photos, I don't like to get necessarily photos with a bunch of people in it or where the people are the main focus. Simply because it almost seems like it's becoming, like if I use those in a journal, then people would look at it and be like, well, who's this? And what's the story behind him? So I tend to do, like if it's really vintage like this, then it's kind of obvious it's a vintage one. But otherwise, stuff like this, where your main focus is, yes, there's two ladies standing here, but you've got this beautiful ocean side photo. So I like to do stuff like that. However, this one I really liked. And I don't know why, but I did like it. And it's obviously focused on the sailor himself. No idea on the date, but check this out, all right? There were some negatives in with this stuff. I don't know why I picked them up other than I think somehow it would be cool to use them. But I found, separate from this, but in the same store, of course, the negative for that exact photo. So I thought that was kind of cool. And we have a few of these little nameplates that people used to send out with their graduation announcements. I guess maybe sometimes they still do, but it used to really be a thing. So I got those. I'm going to cover the name up probably and put something else on it, but I just liked the card itself. Here's another photo. Oh, there's another one of those as well. Woo. All right. Here's another photo. It looks like it's probably somewhere out west here, would be my guess. But I liked that, so I got it. This is really old. I hope you can see this, but look at this. I have no clue who this woman is. She doesn't look happy, but of course back then a lot of times they couldn't smile for photos because the photos took so long to develop. Louise Walgren. But I thought that was awesome. Another old postcard. Cartoon drawing of a bull and the, oh wow, I'm gonna blank out now. The bull tamer. Well, I don't remember. Matador. There we go. I knew I'd get it. Looks like this was sent from to Texas. Oh, from Mexico. And I cannot tell the date on there. Oh, I wish I could, but I can't. Anyhow, that's pretty cute. Kind of cool. Then I have a couple more negatives. So we have this one here, which is interesting because I can't even tell what it's like. It almost looks like it's a negative of artwork. Oh yeah, it is. It looks like somebody took a picture of a photo that was like an art or painting that was laying on top of something. So there's that, and then there's this one as well. Oh, yep. Oh, this is like the proof or something of that negative. Huh. Okay. Anyways, I did not find the original to that one. And of course, this little bag, I'm sure will be fun to use as well. Found an old Montgomery Ward envelope. And we have this. It's an old diploma. County Superintendent. Kansas Public Schools. This is to certify that Shirley Joan Kelling has completed the course of study prescribed by law for the elementary schools of the state of Kansas, and therefore merits this diploma, which entitles the holder to admission to any high school in the state. Given at Phillipsburg, Kansas, this 28th day of May, 1948, by David Van Dyke. That's cool. It's got Mount Rushmore at the top. But I liked this itself, but also this. I don't know if you can tell, but it's almost like that felt material. So I thought that'd be interesting and something different. I'm getting all kinds of dust everywhere. Now this looks newer. This does not look old or vintage, but it's like that acetate that's been printed on. So I thought that would be fun to play with, and I can ink it up and make it look older, but that was just cool. It's got love, fun, family, joy, friend, happiness, hope, laugh, and appreciate. And then it has like the definitions for each of those. So that's kind of neat. And then last but not least, what you already saw, this dark brown tag, which in itself I didn't necessarily need, but I needed like a larger template for tags. So that's why I got that. Anyhow, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think. All in all, for everything except for those 2 large books that I showed you at the very beginning, I paid about $50 for all of this stuff. So tell me if you think that that was a okay deal considering like the treasures that I found, or if that was absolutely terrible and don't ever do that again. But yeah, let me know what you think. I appreciate you watching. Be sure to like this video if you enjoy seeing things like this. I'm still trying to decide if I want to keep these sorts of things on this channel, where I did start it as more of a review unboxing channel. And yeah, it'd be almost easier just to keep everything on one channel. I know I've questioned this before if you've watched other videos, but let me know what you think. Give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and ring the little bell if you want to get notifications when I post. Also, if you look under my playlists, that's where I organize all my videos. So if you do like only a specific type of video that I post, you can always go there to look. So that's one way that I try to keep everything organized a bit better. But thanks again. Have a great day, and I will talk to you next time. Bye for now.